now started. Welcome traders. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I'm going to go ahead and get things started just to kind of review a little bit of what happened last week. Looking at the market as a whole, I'm looking at the 1 hour charts here. One thing we saw last week, of course, on Friday when we were speaking, the non-farm payroll numbers. In fact, somebody asked me, what can we take out of last week? And I say, one thing we certainly learned from last week is the fact that the dollar, which has been kind of a big driver of the long-term direction in the market, proved it's still king, if you will. With the better than expected non-farm payroll. I don't know if it was the better than expected actual payroll number for January. I think a lot of it had to do with the revisions for December and the average earnings, if you will. But we saw the dollar get stronger, versus all the different currencies. The Swiss has been really sideways. It's been caught in some consolidation. The yen went absolutely nuts right down in here, going up about 200 pips, well over 200 pips. Same thing with the CAD. Here was the payroll. Even though the Canadian employment reports were actually better than expected, dollar strength still ruled the day. Dollar strength versus Aussie, dollar strength versus New Zealand. Since then, since we've talked on Friday, we've still been in a state of either consolidation. The only currencies that the dollar has really retraced with some weakness against, which I would say, considerably, would be, Aussie and New Zealand, and to a lesser extent, the yen. The other ones, it's still either in a state of strength, or just like with our Swiss here, it's a little bit sideways. Kind of reviewing some of our strategies. We didn't really have a lot of swing trading strategies as far as last week goes. One thing that we were looking at, and I'm going to pull this one up first because I think it's kind of interesting. Long term, one currency that's kind of been bumping the trend of dollar strength has been the pound. And you can see that we are looking at the possibility of trading some type of retracement on the pound here. And when you look at the pound overall, and let's bring this one up first, and let's go ahead and zoom in. It's at a really interesting level when we look at from this impulse move right in here, from this swing low to this swing high. It came down and it's retraced, and you can see it's kind of bumping off that 78.6 level right in here. Going into, let's bring up one of our pair view screens over here. Let's bring this one up. Going into pair view here, and let me go ahead and bring up the pound. There we go. One thing I'm going to be looking out for today, because the pound has been showing some considerable strength, and I'll go ahead and bring up total view, because looking this over a 24-hour period here. The only dogs we have today is, as far as looking at the last 24 hours of bid and ask activity, is there's quite a few currencies that are showing some strength here, including the dollar. We have what we usually call the usual suspects. We have the yen down here near the bottom. We have the Swiss. We have the euro. Down here near the bottom on the 24-hour basis for the bid and ask activity. Canadian's been actually very strong over the last 24 hours. So is Aussie. And the dollar, you can see the dollar still kind of holding on to that strength. Now, the pound is an interesting one to me because, as it comes down and retraces, I fully expect over the last 24 hours that there probably is a considerable amount of buy and sell activity. But what we're looking at here is not necessarily a, trading with the trend. We're looking at more of a counter trend strategy. So when we go back to like the last hour or so, you see the pound has been kind of climbing up and up and up in here, and getting more into the green. It's been slowly climbing up the charts here, the billboard charts here, as far as being well bid. And looking at it versus the dollar being at the 78.6 level, let me just kind of go ahead and get into the trade scenario. Can't you just give us the trading scenario, Steve? Yes, I can. So let me go in here and show you what I'm looking for on the pound. And this is not just based on what TotalView says, but remember, when we're trading counter trend strategies, we're looking for more accumulation to occur with the pound now that it's retracing. And I think it's retracing down to a really nice little level here. In fact, let me zoom in once more and show you what I'm looking at. Student that sent this that we're looking at this also, we do have what we would look at as being kind of an A, a B, and a C correction. It's not as symmetrical as we would like it to be, but we did get an A that came down to approximately 61.8%. The B came back up, and then we have a C down to the 78.6 level. I wouldn't call it necessarily a Gartley pattern. It's close to being one. However, what it does give us the opportunity to do is potentially buy the pound at a discount just off a simple retracement, essentially just buying it off a higher low potentially being formed. So our first strategy we'll talk about today will be a swing trading strategy, and we'll stick with the same one. Right now it's down to the 78.6, and it's in what we call the retracement zone. Retracement zone, when we want to buy into higher lows, we like the price being between the 61.8 and 78.6 levels, and it could potentially give us an opportunity to buy the pound at a nice high risk reward ratio based on where we're going to put our stop. What we're going to wait for, and here let me go ahead and put pair view on the chart so I can snip it. What we're going to look at is this 1 hour total right in here. It's still showing selling pressure on the pound. So one of the great things about pair view is using this for confirmation is looking for this 1 hour total. The buy and sell imbalances that we look for when it comes to swing trades is we like to see a big shift on the 1 hour totals. We like to see accumulation, if you will. So we're going to look for the 1 hour totals for our buy entry to go to a +5, and that'll trigger a buying scenario here on the pound. So buy entry will be a +5.0 on the 1 hour total. It's already reached a level in which we can choose to buy it. And remember, this is more of a counter trend strategy since we are buying into a retracement. You can see there's a little bit of, it's already showing a -25, but not really looking for selling opportunities here. We're looking for a buy opportunity. Your stop, one of the reasons why I like this level is because of the stop order. When you look at the stop down in here, this 100% retracement level that it would have to come down to, it also matches up very well with the 5,200 level on the pound, which has been a level of support, if you will. So the stop allows us to put it, let's see, 1.51630. If we put our stop at least 1 pip below this low, stop 1.51630, and then that allows us, we don't know what our entry would be yet. We're still going to wait for it to get into more of a buy mode by looking for the liquidity providers to drive the imbalance up on the 1 hour totals. So it's not close to giving a buy order yet, but it is at that level to which we like. So limit 1, if you're able to do more than 1 lot, for example like 2 lots on this, your limit 1 would be a 1-to-1 risk reward. And remember, this is more of a swing type of strategy. So a 1-to-1 risk reward would get us in for our first profit, or get us out for our first profit. 1-to-1 risk reward just means that based on our entry and our stop, once we hit based on our stop order, once we make back the full amount of that stop, what we'd like to do is we like to take off half of our position, and then the other half of our position we move our stop to break even, and then we look for a larger amount of risk reward. what I like to do is I like to trade the meat of these movements. I don't like it to go through a new high. So limit 2 would be right at this level, right up in here. I don't want it to have to hit off of ceiling to get to my second profit target, because there could be quite a few pips involved in this trade. 1.53197, which is what we call a retracement of the retracement. So limit 2, 1.53197. And there we go. That will be a swing strategy that we'll use here. Let me go ahead and snip it. Go. So we're going to keep that same strategy going for today. It's a nice little counter trend strategy for the pound, and that's what we're going to look for. All right, let me get my chart set up in a little bit different way. Other trades that I feel have some potential as far as swing trading opportunities. We have the pound that we just looked at that's making that nice little 78.6% retracement down here on the bottom, which we can probably go ahead and just delete all those objects because we already know what we're looking for on that. I'm going to keep 3 charts up on here. So let me change this over to kind of our strategy view. So let me keep that, I'll keep that, and let's put $yen over here. There we go. Go ahead and tile these windows. We have all 3 of them up here. I always like to put the one that has the PitView on it in the middle so we can change that chart around. That'll be kind of our view chart. Let me put a couple more charts over on here. There we go. And let's go ahead and put our last one right over in here. Change that to $yen. All right. So some other things to look out for today. In fact, let's kind of go straight to some of our other scalping type of strategies here. Let's see here. Which one should we start with here? Let's go ahead here and look at our dollar Swiss real quick, because there's some kind of danger zones here that I want you to be able to look out for. You see, dollar Swiss has been really well bid, but Swiss is all over the last 24, as we just saw in the total view, has actually been well offered, if you will. One thing on the dollar Swiss, which we've liked as kind of a scalping candidate, is the fact that when we look at it long term as a scalping candidate, we always try to look out for periods of consolidation, because those, anytime something is consolidated like it is in through here, it's kind of whipsawed us several times. But one thing I find interesting is right down in here. Let's see here. This right in here. This is the 9,200 level. And we got a little support level in through here also that it's kind of hitting off of. The 9,200 level has been kind of fiercely protected. When we look at the Swiss on, let's say, let's look at on like an hourly time frame, you see how sideways it's been right in through here after making such a long move up. Now I just happen to be fundamentally, I'm bearish on the Swiss, fundamentally, if you will. But when it's kind of, whenever you see something kind of going in this sideways type of motion here, and here I'll kind of expand these, when you see something kind of consolidating sideways right in through here, we generally like buying things when it's in the lower part of consolidation and selling things when it's in the higher part of this kind of consolidation pattern that it's had, or sideways pattern, if you will. Now, even though this has been well bid here, of the dollar being sold off, this is kind of more of a gut feel trade right in here. Let me go back to our 5-minute and I'll zoom in for you. One thing I would like to look out for here, now that it's at the bottom part of this range right down in here, is looking for opportunities to buy dollar Swiss on the way back up. It's been making a large amount of imbalance shifts in the bottom part of this range. You see this little consolidation right in here. That's where a large part of this bid and ask activity is coming from. It's been continuously red this morning, but it's having a hard time breaking any lower. I kind of look at it as a rubber band being twisted around a little bit, because what I would like to look for on this is if it does come up and start to make a buy imbalance on this 5-minute total, I would like that as a buy opportunity with our scalping strategy here today. So on these 5-minute totals right in here, what we're going to look for is on our scalping strategy with dollar Swiss. We did this last week and we had several successful trades on it last week. But going to dollar Swiss, let's go up here to the top. Dollar Swiss scalp strategy. Right now, what I would like to do is take buys if the 5-minute total goes to a plus 20. This kind of mirrors it mirrors a little bit of what we're looking for on pound dollar, only in this case we're looking for more of a short-term type of strategy here. I would like to take buys if the 5-minute totals goes to plus 20. It's at the lower part of its range. It's not just on the 5 minutes, but on the 5-minute charts, but also on the 1-hour charts. It's kind of sitting there in the lower part of its range. Swiss is one now to where we can kind of calm down a little bit. I think a lot of the volatility has kind of worn off a bit. Swiss, when you look at it on the PitView order ticket, the spreads have really tightened up a bit. As it's consolidated, we can look for a little bit more of a normal stop and profit target. Because now it's not really going. When they unfixed their exchange rate for several weeks, you could see the spread on the Swiss get to like 3, 4, 5 sometimes, and so we had to look for a larger stop and profit target. In this case, with our scalping strategy, what we can do is we can look for a little bit less of a profit minimum stop and profit target. I'd say we can look for it, at a minimum of 12 pips in here. I'm going to put it at 12 just because it has spiked up a bit. The spread has spiked up at some points, but look for a minimum of 12 as far as your minimum stop and profit target. Ideally, we would like it to be ideally we would like to put it above or below the previous swing highs or swing lows. But we just want to make sure that we give ourselves a good distance, if you will, for our stop and profit targets. And of course, on dollar Swiss, you got to be kind of careful on this one. You want to exit on your buys when the 5-minute total goes to a negative 20. So if we're getting in on a plus 20, if we're scalping, you want to exit on those buys if the 5-minute total goes to negative 20. And we're just going to look for 1-to-1 risk reward on that individual scalping strategy. So we have dollar Swiss right up in here, keying on that 5-minute total right in there, and that's going to be one of them that we'll be looking out for today as far as for a scalp trade. And if that goes plus 20, we'll go ahead and enter into that during class. All right. Let's take this down. I'll put that kind of on the left-hand side of the screen. Keep an eye out on it. And we'll keep an eye on that 5-minute total and see what shakes out with that. All right. Let me go ahead and I'm going to bring, let me change the symbol here. Let me change my time frame. I got that on the 1 minute length. Change that to 5 over here. There we go. All right. So since we're looking at dollar yen over in here, let me also bring this middle chart over and bring dollar yen to this middle chart. Keep an eye on dollar Swiss right up in here. This will be kind of our short-term strategy. Pound dollar we can check a little bit less frequently. We can kind of go back and forth to that, but I can assure you it'll probably take a little bit for that to get moving. But let me switch over to dollar yen. This move on dollar yen is just insanity. When we're looking at dollar yen, this is one of the ones that showed us, just how strong the dollar move could possibly be, because this is another one that was consolidated, for several weeks on the dollar yen going sideways, and it just totally broke out of that consolidation range and went up to 119, and then kind of has slowly come off of those levels. So expanding dollar yen here, I want to go to a 5-minute chart, because I think there's some things that we can look for here on the 5-minute chart when it comes to our scalping strategy. One thing I noticed this morning, and we're almost at a point in which I think we might have a buying opportunity here, is this morning you see this little inverted head and shoulders on the 5-minute chart. The yen was really consolidating right in through here. And with the strength of that yen, you have, let's see here, you have a left shoulder. Whoops, that's a vertical line. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder. And you can see we have this perfect neutral, it's almost a textbook neckline that's forming right in here. I'm watching this 5-minute total here on the dollar yen also, because this is one to where I was really looking for this morning on the 5-minute charts. I was looking for it at some point to break through either these highs or these lows. It's currently breaking through the highs right now. So I think on the dollar yen, because the volatility is, I think volatility is still kind of implied on the yen, if you will. I like the idea of buying the dollar yen over here. Buy entry. Right now, since it's breaking through these highs, buy entry of plus 20 on the 5-minute totals. I look at the 5-minute totals because it's a great little total and imbalance to look for that generally can lead larger movements in the market. So now that it's broken up through those highs, go ahead and enter in. The thing to look out for, though, if it goes to plus 20 on these 5-minute totals, look for it to still be above these levels. What I mean is, since it's kind of breaking through this resistance level, this consolidation that it's had all morning, ensure that it still has some room to go here to the upside, that it is breaking out of consolidation. Otherwise, when it's getting down in these levels of these, this sideways type of market action, oftentimes you can get whipsawed a little bit. So just ensure that when you have this this horizontal resistance level right down through here, that we're breaking through that level, or that we are through that level. Like right now, if it gives us a plus 20, we're going to go ahead and get in. As far as stops go, you can go ahead and treat it just like you would a head and shoulders pattern. I'll take that resistance support level off. So put your stop right below this low, which would be 118.460. Arup, stop, 118.460. And then look for, on this one, I would just trade momentum and just look for a limit of 1-to-1 risk reward. since we are treating this as just a short-term trade opportunity. And that's one that I'll be watching out for today as this thing comes up. So let me go ahead and snip that. There we go. Whoops, sorry. My snipping tool's a little touchy today. There we go. And we'll add that to our strategy today. Let me take this euro dollar off here right now. Just say dollar yen. This is on a 5-minute chart. There we go. I got that on there. Hold on, my internet kind of reset here, so I need to take these things off real quick. I need to reset my... There we go. I think I may have cut off there for a second with you folks out there. Apologies for that. All right, let me pull up my pair view windows. Good to go. Awesome. All right. So there was our trade here on dollar yen right here in the middle. Let's see, Michael. Michael asks, morning, Steve, do you have any binary option webinars? If so, can you send me the link? And don't worry, I won't share your email address. Yeah, Michael, I got your email last week and I had responded. I have some, as far as webinars for PitView webinars, I haven't created any binary PitView webinars. So I don't have any of those in our records. I've been getting a lot of requests for binaries from students, but I haven't really, I don't really have any to share. I'll resend the email I sent to you the other day with some more information on that when it comes to binaries. And if you don't receive it right after class, let me know and I'll respond. I sent one last week to you. I'm not sure if you received it or not. Sometimes my emails will go to spam for people. All right. So keep an eye on dollar yen. We got the 5-minute totals up here. Keep an eye on dollar Swiss here. And just for giggles, since we already have dollar yen over here, keep that up there. Got a pound dollar here in the middle. You see that one's been slowly climbing up here. You see how this, well, one thing to take a note of, you see how this dollar Swiss is at like a -20 right now? And it's been going -20 quite a bit, but as it's been in this little consolidation pattern right here, it hasn't been making a whole hell of a lot of headway. It's just been kind of going sideways. You know, the bid and ask activity has still been rather crazy on the Swiss. So that's why I'm kind of looking for that +5 to hit on there. Let's see here. We probably have the market starting to open up right in here. That's probably the cause for a lot of this swing here on the yen. Let me watch this one for a second, see what kind of activity we can get on it. I got the yen up in here right now. These are the two that we're watching for short-term trades. It's dollar Swiss and dollar yen. Futures were down. Like Dow's down 78, Nasdaq's down 5. Not a whole lot of news to speak of this morning. This is what we call a technical trading day. This is what a technical trading day looks like. When you have, when you look at the news events and you really don't have any major news events, you have consumer confidence, business confidence coming out in Australia and the CPI in China, which this could be something that affects the Aussie dollar, New Zealand. If you look at the Chinese economic reports, besides the news that's coming out later on this evening, there's really not a whole heck of a lot of news today. In the absence of fundamentals, generally technicals take over. That's my point on that. Let's see here. I still really haven't gotten anything. This dollar Swiss is kind of going, it's forming right down in here. You can kind of see how it's been just circling down in here. It's one of the reasons why I like the idea of, I know the 1 hour's at -18. It's still been heavily offered over the last 5 minutes or so, or heavily bid. This one might be going in our direction here. Let's see what can shake out here. When those large shifts occur, that's generally when we can start getting some good momentum going. Right up here, dollar Swiss. We're kind of diverting our attention from one to the other here. This is the one I'm watching. Over the last couple minutes, it's made a large shift. It was extremely negative, and now it's making a large shift. And so, usually when you see it climbing like that, you can often see a large amount of imbalances come into play. Let's see if we can't get that buy number to come in. It's kind of coming down here towards a trend line. You would like to see this. See where we can get hit here. There's really not a huge amount of volatility here today. Still holding tight there. We'll put that back up at the top here. So keep an eye on these two for some short-term trades. Dollar yen, we're going to keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on dollar Swiss right up in here. And let's go ahead and change this middle chart over to our euro dollar. And I'll kind of zoom in here. I'm going to still keep this on a 5-minute time frame. If you look at euro dollar, that's kind of what it's done today, right down in here. Near these tops right up in here, the euro dollar's been it's been getting pretty smashed against the dollar here. as of late. And when you look at the euro dollar, a lot of people always ask me about scalping strategies. I wasn't really looking for any scalping opportunities or short-term trades on the euro dollar this morning when it was down in here about an hour and a half ago. But now that it's retraced back some, retraced by about 10, 15, or I'm sorry, about 50 pips or so down here to the upside. I still like the idea of selling this whenever we get imbalances to the negative. It was right down in here about 25 minutes ago when we got into our class. And I've been looking at these 5-minute totals here on the euro dollar also for potential opportunities, because I feel like if this goes to a negative 20, now that it's retraced back up, I might look for selling opportunities on euro. See how it's kind of been in sell mode, heavily bid over the last 24 hours, and it's been one of our dogs of the market. When people ever ask me how low I think the euro can go, I think 110 over the short term, and I think we can easily get to the. In fact, let's go ahead. This is at a negative 20. It's retracing back down now. I wanted to go here because I saw that chart coming up. Let's go ahead and do a quick scalp trade. We're going to do two. I'm going to do 2 lots on this, and we're just going to look for 12 pips right now. Let's look for a quick scalp trade by putting our stop above this high and see if we can't get a retracement back down. So let's go in here. I'm going to click on sell, do 2 lots. Got a 12 pip stop. The other thing that would take us out of this is if this goes to a positive 20. So same scalping strategy with the dollar Swiss, where we're going to get in on a plus 20. We got in on negative 20 on euro dollar on 2 lots. We're just looking for a quick 12 pips. See if we can't. There's not a huge amount of volatility today, so if this goes to plus 20, that'll take us out of this trade. We'll see how this one treats us here. As we keep coming up. See, in this case, we're above the previous swing high over here, but I like the fact that it was retracing back up. Market must be watching us. I went to negative 20 pretty fast right in there. Let's see what can happen with this. I'm not forcing it in here. That's another thing that I was going to show you that I was looking at today. Oh. Sometimes you get the elevator, sometimes you get the shaft. That's okay. That's one of the first trades we've been stopped out on in a while. We generally have pretty good luck on our first scalp trade for the class. Damn you, euro dollar. Now, if this goes green again on the 5-minute totals and reloads and goes back down to a negative 20, then I don't think it's gone green yet. I still like the euro dollar in sell mode here to the downside. What's happening with the market? Let's see here. Dow's recovering a bit. It's down 45. S&P down 2. So we're getting a little bit of a recovery in the stock market. So lost $2 on that. We're 20 pips. Let's see, dollar Swiss is still down here to the downside. Dollar yen coming down a bit. All right. This hasn't gone green as of yet. You still like the sell imbalances here. I was looking at euro dollar also for retracement opportunities. on the 1 hour, I'm sorry, on the 1 hour charts, not the 4 hour charts, the 1 hour charts. You see here from this swing high right up at 115, this was the lower high that it had made when it had come up. Made this nice precipitous move down. I didn't really have time to explain this one. It had this nice precipitous move down off the non-farm payrolls, and this was its dead cat bounce right in here at this 113.53 level. I was liking the opportunities for short-term trades because when we got that sell opportunity, we were right in here coming up into our retracement zone on the 1 hour charts. I felt that on the 5-minute charts, even for a short-term opportunity, we could get a sell opportunity in here now that we're in a retracement zone. So I was looking, that's one of the reasons why I was looking for that for a sell opportunity. See, now that it's gone green again, if it reloads and goes to a negative 20, see, once it goes to a buy imbalance, if it really reloads, if you're looking for other opportunities to get in, now that it's gone green, if it goes back to a negative 20, we can look for another opportunity to sell it. From a trading perspective on the swing charts, if we were looking at this as just a swing trade, technically it's already come up into our retracement zone. It's already given us a sell because the 1 hour totals are already -5 on that. They've already gone -5 inside that retracement zone. I do like the idea of looking for the euro dollar to go down further. It made a sustained break down below the 113 level. I think the next stop on euro could be down near that 110 level. I'm not saying it's going to hit it this week, but that's kind of my, if I had to look forward to like 1 to 2 months down the road, I think this thing can easily go down to the 110 level. And personally, I think it can get down to the parity with the dollar much sooner than people realize. So we'll keep an eye on euro dollar here in the middle also. We'll keep it on our 5-minute time frame, but that's one of the reasons why I like that was the fact that we were up and near that level, or actually we weren't in the retracement zone yet. I probably should have second checked that or double checked that when I was in there. Zoom out a bit. Put that back in the middle there. There we go. All right, let's go back to our pound, see where that's going, what's happening with that here today. That's one of our nice little counter trend strategies we're looking for. This is where we're at down here near this retracement down in here on the pound. Well, all over the map today. It's kind of a whipsaw little atmosphere in the absence of news, no real fundamentals. Even though some of these 5-minute charts look like there's a huge amount of movement on them, there's really not a huge amount of movement on the 5 minutes. See, that 1 hour total is still climbing up slowly. That's one that I'd be comfortable holding on to on pound dollar here. Let's see. All right. Let's go back to our euro dollar, see what's shaking with that one. You can see this is our retrace between 61.8 and 78.6. That's our retracement zone. My apologies. I just assumed it was up there when we were right up in there, but we were actually about 10 pips off of it. I should have probably double checked that. That was a little bit of a my bad on that one. Sorry. Thought it was already in that retracement zone there. Still keep an eye on that. Still have dollar yen right up in here. Dollar Swiss is still came up, came right back down. This has been range bound for, this is only about 10 pips between these highs and lows right in through here. Not a lot of sustained moves, if you will, even though these candles, some of them look a little bit bigger than others. Not a lot of sustained moves here this morning. can be tricky when you're doing any type of short-term trades. Let's see here. Let me go around the horn a little bit here, since we're kind of looking at some different screens down in here. Let me kind of pull up some others to look at. New Zealand is one that made a nice little move to the upside. You see right in here, this is one of the ones that has retraced fully from that dollar news that we had the other day. Looking at New Zealand, actually, when you look at both New Zealand and Aussie, they've both made very similar moves in the market. And I'm looking at this on the 1 hour time frame here. This is on a 1 hour chart. For New Zealand, this is one to where you got to be kind of careful on this one, because this, we look at the strength that it's had versus the dollar, and it's hitting off these resistance levels. I know a lot of you like to look at New Zealand and Aussie quite a bit in this class. You just want to make sure you're a little bit more careful, because when you're looking at New Zealand, you either probably want to look for it to be shooting above these highs for buy opportunities, or if this were to go to like a negative or make a bounce off this 78.6 level, look for a bit of a retracement. It's come up so strong over the last 24 hours or so, you would like to look for opportunities to go short in here. I wouldn't look for opportunities to go long on New Zealand until it clears these highs, which are only about 25, 30 pips away if you're looking for any type of swing opportunities. Intraday, I would almost look for more of a bounce to the downside on New Zealand. And what I'm doing now, folks, since we're kind of looking at some different pairs here, I'm just kind of going through the motions of looking at some different individual currencies. We're in the midst of the U.S. session here, so making sure I look at some of these dollar pairs also. Dollar Canadian is another one. You see it's making a retracement here to the downside. Right down in here. This is one on dollar CAD. When you look at it, either on a 1 hour time frame or even on the 5-minute charts in through here, dollar CAD is one that I've had some success trading this with the scalping strategy, basically in either direction, off of negative 20, positive 20 imbalances on the 5-minute totals. Because when it's made moves, it's made some pretty sustained moves up and down. And when you look for those little 12 pip moves or those 10 pip moves to the up and downside on dollar CAD, they've actually been pretty successful. As we've looked at it retrace down here to the downside, here let me see, got dollar yen up here, dollar Swiss still at a negative 10. As we see it starting to retrace down here on the downside of the move, this definitely has plenty of room to go here, when you're looking at dollar weakness before it gets to those pre-release prices. One thing that we were looking at last week was looking at sell opportunities on dollar CAD, because the Canadian employment report actually came out very good, while all other pairs weakened against the dollar on Friday. Because the Canadian employment report was actually very good also, it caused this tug of war during the non-farm payrolls, where you see this, this spinning top, if you will, that formed right here with the news announcement before the dollar strength took over. And since then, the one thing I was looking at this morning is that it looked like it was finding some support, and it's finally driving down below that right now. This is one that probably won't get to a support level here until about the 2400 level. So this might be an opportunity. You could either almost take long or short trades today on dollar Canadian if you're looking for scalping strategies. I'm kind of staying away from that one right now, because I've just got this kind of feeling in the back of my stomach on dollar Swiss and euro dollar. So I'm kind of looking at those also here. Going through the rest of them here, as far as the commodity currencies, we also got Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar's been in some tight consolidation here. Aussie's actually been a little bit stronger versus the dollar this morning. Any of these different consolidation type of currencies, like here we have this little trend line that's formed here near the top on Aussie, and you have this tight amount of consolidation here throughout the middle. Look for it if you're looking for buy opportunities on Aussie. you could conceivably get one if it were to break through these highs. That's another one that I'm not really looking to trade today. I mean, that looks like a lot of movement, but it's really not a huge amount of movement. We're looking at about a 10, 20 point range in through here. So look for some clearance through these consolidation levels if you're looking to go long or short in Aussie. But, again, if you get a break through any of these consolidation levels, whether it be through these lows right down in here or through these highs, you could do it off a plus 20 or minus 20, but just don't look for it when it's in these periods of consolidation. And if I'm not being clear enough, I apologize. But I'm looking at this dollar Swiss over here also, trying to multitask. I'm going to go ahead and buy 2 here. Sorry. Dollar Swiss just went to a plus 20. And it keeps on coming down right in through here. We have this. It went to a plus 20. We have it right below this level of support here. Just looking for 12 pips here. What's the spread on dollar Swiss? Still looking at like 1.6 pips. The spread is good. I've been looking out for this one here this morning also. Dollar Swiss is the same thing. We went long on a plus 20. It went to plus 20 right in through here. So we went ahead and went long on two micros. If it goes negative 20, we'll get out, but we're looking for see if it can make some type of move for us to the upside. Some of those commodity currencies, maybe besides Canadian, kind of look a little whipsawed to me. I like the idea of euro dollar at the bottom part of its range, and I like dollar Swiss at the lower part of that 120 range. Switch back over to euro dollar here in the middle. Let's see. Got about 4 pips in that right now. If these things could just make a move at some point. I'm not worried about that on the 5-minute totals. I got my stop right below these lows right down in here. We'll just see if we can't get that back up. Down about 2 pips right now. Euro dollar's in that retracement zone right now. Dollar yen, not showing much of anything right now. Let's see here. The other one that we've been kind of looking at is pound dollar for trades. In case you're wondering, those are the 4 currencies I'm looking at: pound dollar, dollar Swiss, euro dollar, and dollar yen. -9 on there. And unlike, a month ago, I have no problems if I were to go short euro dollar and going long dollar Swiss at the same time. Keep an eye on that 5-minute total. It's fine right now. We're right at break even on that trade. Been up 4 pips, down 4 pips. And for those that are brand new to the class, I'll talk about this here in just a little bit, but We will be going through, if you're confused at all about the strategies that we're going through, because I'm going a little fast here this morning. I must not have had enough coffee as of yet. Anyway, I'll be in some upcoming classes, we'll be doing some review of these. Let's see, Joshua says, hi, Steve. I lost almost 2,000 pounds trading binaries. Almost in the money to the last minute. Trading Forex might be the solution. Well, the spot market, one of the things I like about trading the spot market is the fact that it is what it is. I mean, it's not, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're not trying to have it be in a specific area at a specific time. You can be a lot more patient with a lot of the, the price movements in the spot market. I think you have better opportunities to be wrong, and you have better opportunities to be right should that happen. So I think it gives you better risk reward and probability if you're trading spot, because you can be a little bit more patient with your trades. The problem that I've seen with binaries in the past is that people often look at them like playing Keno or like gambling, and the shorter term you go on binaries, oftentimes it can lead to disaster because of just the either expiring 100% or at zero. So that's something that I always, it's not like I think binaries are bad. I just think that there's other things that can give us better probability in our trades. Trading spot, I think, allows you to be a little bit more patient in the type of trades you place. Still keeping an eye up here. On this 5-minute totals, they've gone negative. Big part of our problem this morning is looking at all these moves. It's just going red, green, red, green. That's what happens when there's not a huge amount of volatility in the market. Or when I say not a lot of volatility, I mean exactly what I just said. Damn, 2 in a row. See, this is going to come right back up. Normally we could take a short position if it goes negative, but it's not showing that many signs of making clear breaks below the support level. At the bottom part of that range. This is what we call whipsaw trading right in through here. Little question that came up. Wow, you got stopped out on 2 in a row. Yep, we've been stopped out on 2 in a row before. Everybody knows my comments. Sometimes you get the elevator, sometimes you get the shaft. That's just the way it is in trading. Good news is we've been consistently up over the last several weeks with a lot of our swing trades and our scalping trades. So we're in pretty good shape. We're still in the black as far as profitability, but yeah, not a great way to start our week. Next question is, why not take a short position here on dollar Swiss? One of the reasons why I had my, I don't mind putting a 12 pip stop on here and putting my stop too tight is it was right below this area of consolidation, this support level right in through here, which this 9,200 level seems to be being well protected on dollar Swiss. In fact, I'll probably look for an opportunity to go long once again if it goes to a plus 20. It's kind of an odd man out when you look at it overall, the way dollar Swiss reacts, just because it hasn't participated in a huge amount of the dollar strength, and it hasn't participated when the dollar's gotten weak. It's just been kind of going sideways. I'm also looking at, I'm also extremely bearish on dollar Swiss going forward. I think that it can easily get up to like the 94.50 levels and retrace about halfway from where it got unfixed to the euro. People often forget, that get scared out of dollar Swiss, that the fact that they have a negative exchange rate, or I'm sorry, a negative interest rate, and negative interest rate is never good for anybody. So looks like a dollar's been just selling off just a little bit down in here. It's been selling off actually substantially, coming back up and retracing on the euro. We're now officially in that little retracement zone. Kind of a dollar hangover from the non-farm payrolls this past week. Although the markets, there's not a huge amount of volatility in the underlying stock market, the higher, what we call the higher yielding assets either. That's where I'm going to stick with today, folks. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time. I also don't want to make a whole lot of something out of nothing here. You might want to be a little bit more patient with trades today. We've given it 2 shots, once on the euro, once on the Swiss, as far as trades to go long the dollar. Be extremely careful. I mean, there's, there's not a huge amount of market moves today. I know some of these look like big moves, but they're really not for how early, for the time of day it is. Some of these candles are just, 10, 12 pips at a time. We're not seeing the types of moves we generally do between our 1 hour trading session that we generally have here today. But just to go forward, what I'll do going forward is I will look for an opportunity to short euro. If it goes to a negative 20, I'll short it again. Same thing, I'll put my stop either above a swing high, or I'll put it about 12 pips away. I would love the opportunity to go long dollar yen right in through here. The yen weakness is kind of driving the market also. Now that it's kind of come out above that consolidation pattern that it had, or reversal pattern, if you will, I would love the opportunity to go long if it goes to a plus 20. Dollar Swiss, I won't give up on this one either. If this goes plus 20, I'll look for opportunities to go long today. Let me see if the 24-hour and total view has changed at all. No, we still have the Swiss well bid, well offered over the last 24 hours. The yen is also well offered over the last 24 hours. The euro is kind of right in here, a mixed bag. The dollar, when you look at who it's been strongest against, the Swiss, the euro, the pound, I mean, the Swiss still looks good from a buying opportunity at the lower end of this range, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, IMHO, as my daughter would say. The euro, I still think looks good for reversal now that we're in that retracement zone. The pound is probably, if we're this is certainly would be a contrarian trade. Keep an eye on the 1 hour totals on the pound. If you see those 1 hour totals start to reverse, go ahead and go long on pound. I like the area that it's in, and that's where we'll leave it here for today. I'll give this one another shot here. See if we can make up some ground here. We just went to a plus 20. I won't stay on for this one though. I got my stop 20 pips, 12 pips below the low. So I got it below this low once again. Got my limit 12 pips away. Went to a plus 20 here on dollar Swiss. So I got that in. See if we can make some back here. Otherwise, whipsaw opportunity. And if I lose 3 in a row, I might shut it down here for the morning. $0 in that retracement area. Let me change that to a 5-minute chart here in the middle. Let's see how long I've been going here, about an hour and 6 minutes. I'm going to keep this one in here, right in here on dollar Swiss. Got in for like a 12 pip stop, 12 pip limit, just looking for a simple little scalp trade. If I get swung out of that, these markets kind of scream of whipsaw conditions here this morning. So euro dollar, I'll still keep an eye on that. Pound dollar is the one I like for a swing trade opportunity. But remember, we'll see each other on Wednesday. Lick our wounds a little bit if we don't end up getting a profitable trade here and start all over again. So, Michael, I'll shoot you an email back here. Keep an eye on this open trade that we have in here. And I will chat at everybody on Wednesday, I guess. That'll be our plan here. Sorry if I was a little out of it today, folks, and not as much on my game, but tomorrow will be another day, and we'll pick up where we left, or I'm sorry, Wednesday will be another day. We'll pick up where we left off. So I will see everybody on Wednesday. Thanks for coming in, and happy trading. Bye-bye.